Welcome back to the Carbon Box Media YouTube channel. We are here back with Dominic, and today we have a really interesting topic. We are going to be talking about how data affects email marketing. So, Dom, why don't you say hi to the audience, and then we'll jump into things.
Good to be back again. We're going to be talking about how data is super important to marketing and how, having the right set of data does improve your results, asking the right questions, running the right tests, and really doing the right things does move the needle. So we already do know as marketers that data is super important. And one of the few things that data tells us is if what you're doing is right and what you need to be doing and if what you need to really intensify on. But as a strategist, you need to understand the starting point, right? What do you need to do? If you have two sets of information, you want to figure out which moves the most needle. You want to figure out which content angle really moves the most needle. You want to figure out which offer does move the most needle, right? So, and in email marketing, we are constantly testing a lot of things. We're testing angles, we're testing offers, we're collecting zero-party data with one sole purpose. We need to understand what moves the needle so we can intensify our efforts around the things that move the needle. And this is exactly what we did for one of our clients, right? BG Build. They had a dilemma, they had a problem. They were not sure if having a dedicated collection of products based on activity would be good or would be bad. They shared the idea with us. We went ahead and put together a test. But we didn't just stop at putting together a test. We went ahead and moved forward by understanding if just putting the test would be good or if recommending products based on that test would also move the needle.
Great, Dom. Sounds like you're about to show us an example. I'm fired up to see it.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you an example of zero-party data that we collected using earlier. At the same time, show you how that data has really moved the needle on the back end using IRO analytics. So I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, let's start. So for all of our clients, we understand that having the right set of tech in their stack really just move the needle because the number of tools that you have to really improve on results or to get this data does improve or does inform what strategy needs to do or where strategy needs to head, right? So we use Allier for most of our clients. Allier is a pop-up tool that offers between 10 to 15% sign-up rate. At the same time, they have smart triggering, they have smart A/B testing. And for this particular test, we knew that if we needed to get the most data, if we needed to get valuable data, we need to use the right tools, which is why we opted on Allier for this client. So what am I showing you? Now, we wanted to understand, one, if putting together a dedicated collection of products based on activities that kids or people who want to buy this particular product would be most interested in. At the same time, we took this a step further. We didn't just want to ask questions around what kind of product do you really want. We also wanted to understand what matters to you the most. So what you're seeing here is a result on survey or quiz that we asked in the pop-up. We had two variations, variation A and variation B. So variation A, we'd ask the question, what do your kids love the most? And we had the answers, climb everything, swing all day, and chill with a book. Now, if we get this information, we understand, one, would it make sense for them to have a dedicated collection of products based on these activities? And two, would it make sense to dedicate products in the welcome flow and the acquisition flow and across retention based on what people are interested in? These answers would have informed our decision, and actually it has, because now we have data to support exactly what the questions that they asked and exactly what we want to do next. So the first question that we asked in the first variation was, what do your kids love? What do your kids love most, right? So somebody who is signing up to our email list gets served this question, what do your kids love most? And then we have three answers. The first answer is climb everything. The second answer is swing all day. And the third answer is chill with a book. 58% of people who signed up to our email list during the duration of January 29th to April 29th signed up and chose the answer climb everything. And what does this do to strategy? This lets us know that 58% of people who signed up are more interested in seeing products or sets that are focused only on climbing. And then the next biggest variation is 35% of people are more interested in any product that are focused on swinging. We asked the same question in a different way in the second variation of the test, where we said more specifically, what kind of outdoor activities does your kids enjoy most? Now, again, we are seeing that climbing comes off as a winner in this variation because 49% of people let us know that their kids love to climb more than they love to swing or they love to relax and read. So we took this up a notch and also asked other questions around what matters to you the most, right? So do you want a playset that grows with your kids? Do you want easy assembly? Or do you want safety first playsets? And 57% of people who answer this question says playsets that grows with them is the most important. And we have seen this across social media, across marketing content, in both in email and in paid media, that people are more interested in places that are sustainable, places that are durable, places that last long. Because one of the biggest issues with this brand is most people buy playsets, they don't last. And the traditional conventional playsets, they rust, they get wiggly, and they just get bad after a while, right? So the guarantee and the warranty of BG Build is focused on playsets that last for years, playsets that at least 5 years and more. So we knew for a fact that this was going to be the best answer, but at the same time, we wanted to be 100% sure by running this test. And then across marketing, across paid media, across social media, and across email, every other angle, we are going to be hinting on play sets that goes with them, pushing that sustainability, pushing that durability, and a bunch of other things. So we asked questions also around, do you have a truck? Yes and no. This is not very, very significant, but we throw this in here to understand if majority of people who buy play sets have a truck, so they can either, go to the store and get wood for the play sets or not. But the most important thing here is we asked the question around what do your kids love the most, and we got the answer. Now, we took this back to the team and say, hey guys, we ran this test based on your questions, and then we went ahead and ran further tests around what matters to you, what matters most to your kids, and then we give them a go ahead by saying you can go ahead and set up the dedicated collections based on activities, and they did.
Where are these questions being asked? Is this on the website or in email marketing?
Yeah. So these questions are actually called zero-party data, and they are collected or they are being asked in a pop-up form. So a pop-up form is how anyone who's interested in joining your email list gets in. So you collect their email addresses, you collect their phone numbers, and any other information that you want to ask. So the regular or the standard pop-up forms collect just email and phone numbers, and then that's it. But then if you want to take it up a notch, you want to ask valuable information, you want to understand more about your customer or about the lead that's coming into your email list, you ask other questions around this. So this is called zero-party data because we're asking more than just email, more than just phone numbers. We're asking incremental valuable information around, what matters to them. And this just informs strategy and the product recommendation. So went ahead and let them know that, hey, the idea that you guys were thinking about is a valid one because we are saying that about 50% of people are interested in having climbing sets or climbing play sets, and about 40% of people are interested in having swing sets. So we went ahead and set this live, but this doesn't end there, right? We needed to be sure if recommending products based on interest would move the needle or it wouldn't. So we took this up a notch and actually went into another platform called Iro Analytics. So we took that data back to the team and say, hey guys, the idea that you were thinking about is a valid one because now we have seen from the test that we have run that about 50% plus of people are interested in climbing sets and about 40% of people are interested in swinging sets. So it does make sense to have a dedicated collection focused on climbing, focused on swinging, and focused on relaxing, right? And then they went ahead and did it, right? Because now they have data to support exactly what they were thinking. So we didn't just stop there, right? So we took this up a notch. We needed to understand if when interest matches recommendation, would this move the needle or would this not move the needle, right? We need to understand if we're recommending product based on exactly what they want, would they buy more or would they buy less? So we took this into earlier and really figure out if which of these particular personas of people are more likely to buy something, right? So we use a tool called Iro Analytics. Iro Analytics is a platform that gives you in-depth data. Like I said, we really do focus on tools and platforms that give us the most data because this is how you inform strategy and this is how you really make anything work, right? In email marketing, data testing, and running a bunch of strategic testing to really figure out what moves the needle. So we went into Iro Analytics and say, okay, now that we have these profile properties, we have these questions, which of this set of questions or which of this set of people are likely to buy a lot more. So we went into IRO, and then if you go to the prospect funnel in the tabs, you can filter based on profile properties, right? If you want to understand if people who are tagged as climb everything, or people who are tagged as chill with the book, or people who are tagged as swing all day, you want to understand if they bought a whole lot more or they didn't buy a whole lot more, or like if they bought less than the other people. So we needed to understand if people who are tagged as climb everything add more potential than people who clicked on chill with the book or who clicked on swing all day, right? Okay, so we filtered by persona and we filtered by answered question to really understand if people are really buying based off the personas and then figure out if interest does match, recommendation, a bunch of other things. So now we are filtering by people who selected climb everything the last 30 days. And we are seeing that 33K has come from revenue of the total 58K that came from, just people who didn't really open the campaigns or open the flow, we saw that about $3,000 has come from conversion during the period where they signed up. And then we did the same thing and tried to check if Chi with a book is also a very, very, a good persona to focus on or not. But now we are seeing that overall of 10K has come from this particular set of people, and 7K is attributed to email, right? And then if you want to check swing all day as well, we saw that 57K has come from revenue in the last 30 days since they signed up, and about 35K is attributed to email. So we really want to know if which of this set of people are most likely to buy or have bought the most since they joined the email list. And the answer really is swing all day, because swing all day had about 35K in attributed revenue from email, and Climb Everything did have 33K in attributed revenue since they joined. But if I were to check overall conversion numbers, which is going to be this one, to see which persona did move the needle across board, then we can do it this way. You can click on swing all day, which is a 57K. Total conversion is 57K people swing all day, and people who climb everything is about 58K. So overall, we have seen that people who climb everything are more likely to buy since they joined the list as compared to people who clicked on chill with a book, or people who clicked on swing all day. So that's the data that we have. So we took this back to the team, right? We're saying that we didn't just figure out that it's a good idea to have dedicated, collections based on activities. We are also saying that a group of people are more likely to buy than the others. And then this brings the idea: what if we recommend products based on these activities? If now we are saying that people are instead of people are more likely to buy as compared to the other, if we are much more intentional with this particular test or this particular recommendation, would this move the needle more than just recommending the same thing across board? And we said, and we backed this up by another step in the pop-up form that subtly recommends products. And we said, let's also test based on this to see if people bought more of the particular product that we pushed in the pop-up as compared to when we didn't. So we mentioned this to the same by saying, now that we understand that people are likely to buy more, or this set of people are likely to buy more, and now we have dedicated collection based on this product that people are likely to buy more, how about we really do see if we recommend products based on what we are saying that they're likely to buy, and then let's see if they're going to buy. And then this is our basis for that particular strategy or that particular ideation. Okay, so now let's go back to earlier. So inside of earlier, we have two different tests. We have a quiz that has a shorter number of questions, and we have a quiz that has a longer number of questions, right? So if you open this up, you're going to see exactly what the longer quiz has that the shorter quiz does not have. So in the longer quiz, we ask questions around what your kid loved the most, and these are the answers. And in the next step, we subtly recommended products based off exactly what they answered. So if you say your kids love to swing all day, we are recommending the mainstay and the sway, and we are saying it's a smooth study, endless way to fun. And if they clicked on climb everything, we are saying that monkey business was made for the little adventures and is perfect for climbing. And if you're chilling with a book, reading nook is just the best time for the quiet times, right? So this was intentional but subtle. It's not aggressive. The point here is to understand if we are recommending products, would they buy what we're recommending, or would they just buy anything that they wanted? So we went back into IRO, right? And we want to check now that we have subtly recommended products based on what we have seen, based on what data has actually shown us. And let's check for one thing. Did people really buy climbing playsets more than anything else since they joined the email list or not? So now we're going to go into IRO again. If you want to find this page, just go into orders. When you click on orders, you can then filter by property again. So we are filtering by what your kids love the most, which is the question that was asked. This question that was asked in earlier minutes. So we're asking that same question: what do your kids love the most? Content, climb everything. If this worked, what would inform that this really did work is people are going to buy a lot more of the climbing sets than they would have bought anything else during the duration that they signed up. And now that we're filtered by climb everything, we are seeing that people did actually buy a lot more of the climbing sets that they bought other things. So they bought, since joining the list, we are seeing that they bought a whole lot of the Pijubid mainstay, which is climbing focused. And then up next, they bought the Piju Monkey Business Bundle, which exactly is what we recommended in that pop-up. So top revenue came from the Pijubid mainstay, and the next revenue came from the Piju Monkey Business Bundle during that duration of time. We also wanted to check if the same thing applied to swinging, right? We also asked questions around we didn't just ask questions around climbing, we asked questions around swinging. So we also want to figure out if, even though we subtly recommended product based on what we have seen, based on interest, would they buy a whole lot of swings or not? So if you go into, if you actually select swing, you're going to see it again that swing arm adapter, which is actually a swing product, is the next revenue, is the next highest revenue since the journey list. BGB mainstay is like their area product, so most people are going to buy BGB mainstay regardless. But now that we subtly recommended product, people bought the swing more than they bought everything else. So you can see we have the swing arm adapter kit and we have the sway swing as the top two product that they bought right after the BGB mainstay. So what does this say, and what does this really guide us to do? Now that we have one data around if having a dedicated collection is good or a waste of time, and we have data around what people are most interested in, right? So what your kids love the most. Do they love to swing all day? Do they love to climb everything? Or do they just love to relax and read inside of like a playset, right? Now that we have that answer, and now that we also have data that supports the fact that people are more likely to buy if we recommend products based on exactly what they're interested in. Now that we have all of that data, what happens next? The next step really is to be as aggressive as possible in the acquisition flow and recommend products based on what they answer, based on their interest, based on exactly what they want. And will this move the needle? Yes, because it's going to move the needle because we have data that supports the fact that even when we subtly recommend a product, it didn't move the needle. What would happen if we go as aggressive as possible, recommending products in the welcome flow and saying, hey, you did answer earlier that swing all days was what kids are most interested in. Here are our top swing sets, and then we just send them where we send them to the swing sets because now we have a dedicated collection that focuses only on swing. So this is how data does inform strategy, and this is how you improve results based on the data that you have at your disposal. And this is exactly why we invest in the best of the best tools out there for all of our clients. Earlier for pop-up, A/B testing, smart triggering, higher analytics to get you in-depth data on retention, in-depth data on acquisition, in-depth data actually on everything, right? So this is how we do our marketing, and this is all I have for you today.
Yeah, that was a great one, Dom. I think the bottom line for anybody watching is that if you don't segment stuff, if you're not testing, if you're not collecting data and keeping it clean, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And it's incredibly important to look at the stuff and be intentional so that you can make better decisions with your marketing and ultimately drive more sales. So I really appreciate that breakdown. That was a good one. Is there anything else you want to say before we sign off here?
Yeah, I think you pretty much said it all. That was a wonderful summary. So yes, you're very, very correct, right? Data is super important in marketing. If you're not collecting data, third-party data, first-party data, you're really, really leaving money on the table because the more you understand your customers and your potential customers, the more likely you're going to squeeze money out of them regardless. And that's how we do it in email marketing, right? We test offers, we test hooks, we test angles, we test everything to really understand the customer so we can figure out exactly what we need to push to them and what not to push to them. So yes, that's a wonderful summary.
Awesome. Okay. If you enjoyed the content, if this was useful to you, be sure to like and subscribe and join us next week when we drop our next video. Until then.